Okay, so I just put into the chat, and I will also put this um, on our Google Classroom. So here it is. It's like the weekend before the exam, right? Super important that you have downloaded the app. You won't be able to take the test unless you do that. On Monday, we are signing into the app because that's when our exam will be loaded up in there. Some people, before they took another AP course, they hadn't done this and they weren't able to take the exam. And so now they have to take it in June. You don't want to do that. You want to get this over with and be done with it and feel good about it. Also, the app allows you to take a practice test. It's called the digital practice exam. In yesterday's recorded class, Carlos walked us through how he did that, right? And so go back and watch that. I put it up on Google Classroom and it's on my YouTube. That is your work this weekend, right? So this is part of your Term 4 grade. It's also going to get you more points on the exam because then you're not taking the exam cold, right? You're taking it with some knowledge of how it really works. Again, your computer will be in lockdown mode when you take the digital practice exam. So if for any reason you need to leave that, you would exit. I don't think your work saves. So try, it's going to be about a minute. It's going to be a minute long. Sorry, that was funny. No, it's going to be like an hour and 15 hour and 20 minutes long because and it could be shorter, but I'm guessing from what they mapped out is on the exam, multiple choice, but only one essay. There is a 5-minute break, a forced break between the multiple choice and the essay. Again, because on the real exam on Wednesday, you're going to have multiple choice for an hour, and then it'll force stop you. You're going to go into a 20-minute break. It'll force start again, whether or not you're sitting in front of your computer. So I just want you to get a sense of how that happens. Then there will be no forced break in between the essays. You're just going to have to plow through, right? And it's not going to be the best time of your life, but you're going to have to plow through to get there. Okay, so this weekend, again, you're going to have to monitor your own capacity for this work. If you're overwhelmed and you're stressed and you feel like you're just going to freak out, then I don't want you to push yourself. You have to know yourself. But, oh my gosh, I'm totally not sharing this whole time that I was sharing. So sorry, so sorry. Hi, if you're just joining us, I'm putting into the chat the recommended work for the weekend. But as I was saying, you have to know yourself. If you are really stressed out right now, I don't want you to burn out, right? So you're going to have to say, I can handle this, I cannot handle that. And that's a decision, right? I would like for you to prioritize, obviously, downloading the app, super important, non-negotiable for this. It has to be done by Monday. Monday, if you're in school, please bring your Lenovo because I am going to walk you through how to set up the exam. That needs to be done Monday. At home, just prepare to do that at home. This weekend, please take the digital practice test on the app. It's going to take you about an hour and maybe a little over an hour. It will have multiple choice, a forced 5-minute break, and then one essay. I'm guessing that's going to be the rhetorical analysis, but I'm just guessing. Do 1 to 2 more slides on the synthesis mapping slide deck. I'm going to go into that in a minute. That is essentially the synthesis essay. Then all you have to do is fill it in. Filling it in is the easy part. That's when you get to just riff on like whatever it is the topic is. But mapping it is the harder part, and I want you to have some practice doing that in a time setting. That's what we're going to do today. I'd like you to try one more on your own. Then that way you don't have to write a synthesis essay in full. If you want to before the exam, just go into AP Classroom for our class. There's so many on there that you can choose from. I loaded up many practice essays. And there's also multiple choice in short spurts on AP Classroom. I do want you to focus on the essays at this point. You know how to do multiple choice. and essays are worth more. And then review the exam cheat sheets. I put them in the mail yesterday. You should get them tomorrow or Monday. Please look for them in the mail. And we will write the argument essay on Monday. Okay, let's go into our activity for today. This is what we did whenever we did it, I think 2 days ago, okay? For those of you who are not in class today, I'm going to post this on Google Classroom under the header, Work for the Weekend. And so this will be in there. I would like for you to try, especially if you're not here in class with us today, I would like for you to try 2 of these if you've never done these before. I'd like you to work with 2 different prompts. Don't peek at any of the prompts yet, right? So this is where we're going to go down. We're going to go, whoops, oh my gosh, this is like insane. Okay. I've been talking about the synthesis essay and how to work through it, right? You're a surgeon, you're extracting just the first thing you find, okay? You're either going into the prompt before you even look at the sources. I'm not even going to say read. I don't want you to read these. But before you go into the sources, have 2 to 3 universal ideas that are ways that you're going to prove whatever it is you're proving or persuading people of. And then look at the source title. Decide if it's on your side or if it would be a counter source. Honestly, I would skip it if it's a counter source and just know to go back, right, to that source. And then start finding your support sources, okay? And you'd want to have like 2 support sources, you know, and 1 counter. And then I talked yesterday, so please watch the class video yesterday of how to do this and how to find, like, how to make your sources fit together. Okay, I'm going to jump into this slide 11, so please go to slide 11. There are real prompts here from, remember, there wasn't this essay in 2020, okay? The 2019 prompt we had already talked about, and now I'm forgetting in my mind what that was, but we've already done work on it, and I'll remember, and you know, but we've done some talking about it. I'd like for you to pick one of these now, but and go to that. So if I'm going to do the college one, and don't like worry about, you know, just go to it. And then all these slides with the orange box in the upper left belong to the college prompt, all right? When you start getting to the next color, this one is another prompt on the honor system. Doesn't matter which one you choose, really. I just want you to choose one that you have not done before. I am going to go down to, we did these in class. This one is the role of public libraries, okay? I don't want to, you know, I think after you write, the reason I'm having writing public on this is that we can learn from each other, all right? We have different ways, right? These are your universal ideas. You start out with transition words primarily, and your most important point, or just make it your most important point, you know, so would be first. And she's saying, look at all this writing that she's done. You don't have to do that much writing about it. She found a source to support that. What I'd like for you to do, if you take a look here, right, there's a source to support and then a counter source. You should have a counter argument at least one time in your essay, and you should have a paragraph at least one time where 2 different sources that support you are together. And you're comparing, you know, you're saying how they support, they're alike in supporting your position. You should also think about a counter source matching or countering another support source, right? But for sure, a counter source can counter your position, right? So just in one of the paragraphs, you have a counter source, all right? Yes, you can have the same support source twice in a paragraph or obviously across the essay. You can have, so what I like to do is I like to find a very strong support source and go back to that strong support source. That strong support source can be in all 3 paragraphs. The other thing I want you to know, and don't look at your prompt yet, okay? When I hit the clock in like a minute, I want you to really practice the strategies that I talked about over the past few days. Where do your eyes go, right? What's the first thing your brain has to think about? We have to find a position. First, we have to find the topic, right? What they're asking us to do, and then what is your position, okay? Then we want to think of our universal ideas on our own real fast. What are 3 ways you could prove this or persuade people about this? Don't be picky, be impulsive. Those are your 3 ways. Move on. Don't sit there and think about it too much or doubt yourself. Then you're going to look at your source titles. Do they support you or do they not? Okay? And then you're just going to look at the very first beginnings of the source, the very first thing you find. You're going to take it, you're going to move on. All right. So what are we doing right now? Can someone tell us in 15 minutes, the next 15 minutes, what we're doing? What are we doing? We did this before a couple days ago. Amin, Carlos, Haley, Jimmy, Keisha, Lanicia, Ngan, Ronald, Savannah, Anastasia, you're a sophomore. I don't know, okay. Can someone verbalize what we're doing, please? Article, you're finding three sources, but more than that, okay, more than that, you also have to think of your 3 ways, and then you are writing a thesis, and those 3 ways are your universal ideas. It's how you're going to prove your source or your position, okay? All right, I'm going to set the clock. Make sure you've chosen a slide that no one else is on. Write your name in the top left. Don't look at your prompt yet. I want to time you. I want to give you only 15 minutes, okay? Because that's about the amount of time that you're doing this on your own. All right, any questions before we start? Emeka, are you in the slide deck? Are you in Zoom? Hold on. All right, 15 minutes. You can open the prompt now. What I'm doing with you here. It goes fast. You have to pick a side in 10 seconds. Like immediately just pick a side. It doesn't matter what side. They're always going to have statements and facts in that 6 sources, right? They're always going to have things that are for and con and pro. So you're going to find support no matter what. Doesn't matter what side you pick. Just pick it and move on, okay? If you're getting stuck on the thesis and if you're spending too much time on the thesis, then just have the ways in your mind. Just have three ways you would convince someone of this source. All right? Part of it is like think that you're in a debate. In a debate, you've got to think of things fast. It might not be the perfect thing. That's okay. So be impulsive and go with it, okay? If you don't get to this in 15 minutes, this 3rd thing, which is explain how your sources support that way or universal idea, that's okay. That's getting more into the writing. Remember, you have 40 minutes after this to write. But I'm pushing you to come up with your thesis, come up with your topic sentences, which are right here, and come up with your examples, your sources. That way, when you're writing, all you have to do is take it and plug it in. So I would actually do this on paper. I would have paper with you when you're taking your exam and do this on paper, this part. In fact, even if you want to take a picture of this and you want to like replicate this on paper so you have it ready to go when you're It's already written out. You have it. You don't have to worry about it. It's ready for you to take notes on for Wednesday. Okay, other thoughts about doing this in 15 minutes? You want to share what you're thinking? Okay, we're going to do it again. Choose another one that you haven't done. So again, go to slide 11, and I'll put the slides again in the chat. For those of you who are not here today, but you're watching this, this will be on your Google Classroom assignment for Monday, because I do want, it would be ideal if everybody could do 2 of these by Monday. Some of you have already done them from earlier this week. Some of you are just getting into them. All right, choose another one. Doesn't matter which one. Go to one you haven't read. If I do libraries, who cares? Just go. We don't want to, you know, and then you're going to scroll down until you find a free slide. And I also think it's a good idea that, you know, at some time you look through what other people have written. Then you're going to see the diversity of ideas, right? There's not just one idea for this, okay? I think most of you are getting hung up on picking a side and the thesis. Immediately, you want to decide if your source supports your position or if it goes against. How do we decide that without reading? Anybody remember from yesterday? The title. The title should tell you. If it doesn't, read the first paragraph. You're not reading though, you're skimming. And you're not reading the whole article. You're a surgeon. You're extracting the very first thing you find that supports, okay? All right. If there's no questions, remember you find your prompt right here where it says prompt here. And then you'll have 6 sources that follow the prompt. You will see then the speech for the rhetorical analysis essay right after the 6th source. Don't go there. You're only dealing with the first 6 sources. All right, is everybody ready to go on a new slide? Okay, on your mark, get set, go. Okay, so today in class what we ended up doing were 2 of the synthesis mapping slides. So I suggest doing that. Somebody asked, are we going to write a synthesis essay? Not in class. It's 55 minutes long. The most important part of the synthesis essay is that you drill on how to develop your point of view really quickly. You should pick a side in like 30 seconds and then develop your universal ideas from that slide. Fill in your thesis. Where do you get your counter argument? You actually get it from the prompt. The prompt will always contain a counter argument in its introduction of the topic. So here we go to the prompt, and you will see that there is in the prompt language going to be some reference to the other side. So you just have to figure it out here. Here it is right here. It begins with a while or although. That's a cue word to know that they are referencing the other position. While some commentators question whether libraries can stay relevant, others see new possibilities and changing dynamics. Take that for your thesis, okay? I mean, basically that is your thesis. You just want to put it into your own words. And you, I lost my train of thought, sorry. You want to put it into your own words and make sure that you can find, you know, that as you're moving through the sources, you can refine your thesis, but go into, you know, take this while statement from the prompt and add your 3 universal ideas to it and change some of the language, and that's a trick to get to the thesis. So again, the strategy is to kind of steal from the prompt the counter argument, right? And then steal from the prompt the other side. Choose which side you're on. Are you on questioning whether libraries can stay relevant, or are you on the side of libraries give new possibilities in a changing society? Choose that side and then craft your thesis using one of the positions as a counter, right? Like this statement is, beginning with a while. For the synthesis and the argument essay, you always want to start with a counter using the language while or although, and that language is on your cheat sheet up at the top of your, right here, up at the top of your cheat sheet for synthesis. I did not make a cheat sheet for argument because the synthesis essay is the exact same as the argument essay. When you're writing the argument essay, have your synthesis cheat sheet next to you. And the thesis language is the same. Topic sentences are the same. Choosing your 3 ways or universal ideas is the same. Everything's the same except argument. You do not get sources. You do not get a text. All you get is the prompt. It would be like this, right? But there's no sources. And then you have to decide from your own knowledge and experience in this world. That's why we spent time listening to podcasts and, you know, talking through things together, writing that argument generator Padlet. So we got into talking briefly about what you want to do next week. Make sure you take a look at the exam prep slide work plan that I'm going to post on Google Classroom as homework. These things are homework. I suggest looking over these argument slides for homework. I'm briefly going to talk through this for 10 minutes on Monday, and then you are going to write an argument essay from a recent prompt, and you're going to only write for 30 minutes. Know that on the exam, the writing period is 40 minutes. The only exam essay that's longer is synthesis because, again, you're reading. But this is an overview. We did this in December, January, a little bit of February. I know it was a while ago. But now you kind of know this because we've done stuff with it. We've worked out the debate based on this. Remember in January and February, we did the overrated and the unknown argument essays. The hardest part, and again, I think you all have really gotten good at this over the past couple months, is coming up with your 3 reasons, the 3 ways. And you've practiced that in the debate, you've practiced that in the argument generator Padlet. So essentially, and I know it's a little hard to see, but here's the structure of the argument. You have the okay, here's my stance. Here's my position on public libraries. I think they're beneficial to society. And I'm going to steal some of the key words from the prompt. They help a changing society adapt to the future by providing resources and technology and free access to the public. I kind of have my 3 ideas there. Resources, I don't know, maybe resources to look for jobs or right? Technology and free access. Those are my 3 body paragraphs. All I have to do is come up with evidence from my own brain about, and part of this is what I call the BSing or riffing off of what you just know from being in the world. And like you do in a debate, remember when people spoke in a debate, some of it they had written down. Most of it is extemporaneous, which is riffing in the moment on ideas or thinking. So don't feel like you're going to know everything that you're going to write before you actually write. And I think you have to let go of that and just do this and just pretend like you're a highly paid lawyer and you're being paid $7,000 an hour, which some lawyers are, to do this, right? Or $700 an hour. I don't know, maybe $7,000 too. Remember that you do need a counter rebuttal. Same thing as the thesis or as the synthesis. You need a counter and you need a rebuttal in one of your paragraphs. Here's the the lessons on this. But remember, you know this. We've been working with counter rebuttals, but these are just like really in-depth slides in case you want to review what a counter rebuttal is. These slides in green, I think, are helpful for both synthesis and argument. You can always have a paragraph, a fallback, emergency paragraph on economic impact, right? So when you're dealing with the role of public libraries, go ahead and do what's the economic impact on the role of public libraries, right? Helping find jobs, helping people get educated, all that contributes to the economy. One fallback I like to think of is dividing your 3 paragraphs into the individual impact on the person and the family, maybe economic impact, and then the larger societal, or what's the impact on this country? What's the impact in the community, right? So these are your fallback. Certainly economics is always a fallback if you think about some of the synthesis prompts that you've worked with, and certainly on the argument. Here's some language that you might want to think about. We talked about disproportionately negatively affected, disproportionately affected. Here's a sample of an argument prompt. There's a lot of writing here because they give a lot of background. Some of the background you don't even need, right? Like this stuff up here, you don't really need it. You don't need to know exactly Thomas Paine, 1791. This is not an essay where you need to go back and deal with that. They're just giving you some background on the topic that they're gonna pose to you. But here's the language. Write an essay that examines the extent to which Paine's characterization of America holds true. Okay, what is his characterization? We need to read it. So is this true or not is what it's asking. So we need to read whatever this guy Paine said, this huge paragraph, and we need to figure out what's the main idea he's saying, and then is it true or not? Does it exist or not? And then we need to come up with 3 reasons why we believe that. Okay, so it is important that you read this paragraph to understand what is the main idea, what is the stance, is it a negative or positive thing, and then how do you believe? And you create a thesis the same way you do with the synthesis, which is coming up with a counter argument first. So if you have any questions over the weekend, please text me, please let me know. Again, here's some sample prompts at the end, and then we're going to pick up on Monday with me going over this for 10 minutes and then you doing the argument essay. Tuesday is an important class because we're going to come in and we're really going to separate all the parts of the exam and how you can chunk that out in your brain for Wednesday. And we're also going to make sure that you are loaded up on the exam, the actual exam. We have to do that no later than like Monday night, okay? All right. See you soon.